Hi, Dr. Monji here with Balanced Health of Payson, Utah. I wanted to talk about a couple of concepts today. Um, what are your health codes or your health standards? What do I mean by that? So, kind of, what are your attitudes and the habits that you have in place for your health? And because really having good health nowadays really takes effort, and you have to be intentional about it, and you have to have kind of processes and systems in place to improve your health, because nowadays it's not just going to happen. And if you just do things now and then for your health, it's not going to quite cut it, and I don't think you're going to have the health outcomes. And so my philosophy is the three areas that really affect your health. One is your structure, your structural health. We'll talk about that more in depth today. And then your second area is really your emotions, your mental health. That's going to affect your health. And the third area is your body chemistry. And we'll talk about that another time. So today we're going to talk more about kind of your habits, your standards, uh, what you're doing for your structural health. And what I want to talk about here mainly is really what are you doing for your health with respect to movement, exercise, and do you actually have a routine, or do you just fit it into your life when you can? I used to do this, and it didn't really bode well. So I just really exercised when I had time. And obviously, when you're in different stages of life, it's different, right? If you a new parent, have a 1 year old that's not sleeping through the night, that's going to be different versus maybe an almost empty nester. We have more time freedom, you have more control of your schedule. And so, but think about if you don't. I pretty much go to gym Monday to Friday at about, well, actually now, because it's the start of the new school year, I try to get my daughter off to school early. So we go at like 5:15, 5:30. So that's that's a commitment, but we have a routine. And so most mornings it's going to happen maybe about 4 times a week. That's good. We shoot for 5, but 4 is great. And right, yeah. So you have to have these systems in place, these routines. Otherwise, it's not just going to happen. And different habits equal different results. So if you just fit your exercise in around your life, you're going to have different results, right? Whereas if you have a set routine, a system, you're going to get, I think, better results. And so you need to have a system. And things to think about, do you actually walk or do you run? Do you go for a walk with your spouse, friend? Is that scheduled? A wise man once said, show me your schedule or your calendar and I'll show you your priorities. And so what is on your calendar, on your phone, right? What things are on your phone that relate to movement, exercise, health? And do you take the stairs whenever you can instead of the elevator? When we went to Mexico last February, my wife pretty much took the stairs. We went to visit her niece in Mexico City. It was amazing. If you haven't been to Mexico City, we had a great experience. The areas that we went were really safe, a lot of culture, amazing food. So go to Mexico City, that's a little plug. But my wife, her niece stayed in an apartment complex about 3 or 4 stories up. And every time we went anywhere, she took the stairs. I got a little bit sick. I think it was kind of COVID again. So I was a little low energy, but she took the stairs every time. And so I was pretty impressed instead of taking the elevator. Do you have stretching built into your routine? As we age, the elasticity, the flexibility of our muscles, tendons, they get tighter, so we have to really stretch. But you also can't just stretch through injuries and and problems. So I am a chiropractor, so obviously that is my world. And a lot of people say, oh, it's just when they have pain in their back, they say, oh, it's just a muscle problem. Yeah, it can be, but what happens is actually when the spine is out of alignment, when there's bad biomechanics, when we have kind of an injury in the low back, so that say you have a bulging disc, and so what happens to the muscles is they kind of tighten, they act more like a splint and they tighten things. And so if you just try and stretch that out, your body's actually saying, hey, this is injured, the disc's not happy, so you can't just really stretch through that, if you make sense. Stretching's really good, but you can't just always stretch out a problem, because the tight muscles are sometimes there to protect that joint or that disc, the low back, the knee, the hip, right? So you've got to work on the biomechanics, the root cause of the problem. Does that make sense? But stretching is good. Have you thought of doing yoga? We have a yoga class every Saturday morning. It's Kundalini Yoga, which really combines meditation and stretching. People have seen some profound changes. So that's Kundalini Yoga in the back of our building every Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. We have 2 instructors. Then I've seen a lot of ads online about Tai Chi and weight loss and building muscle. So have you thought of doing Tai Chi? I've always liked more smooth, calm forms of exercise. I'm not like a rough and tumble kind of a guy, so I wouldn't like jiu-jitsu or grappling or anything like that, or boxing. I like more golf, Tai Chi, stretching, yoga, running, triathlons, more kind of smooth, rhythmical exercise. So kind of find the exercise that you really like and that really matches your temperament and your personality, right? So I like kind of the smooth, calm things. I've always liked ball sports, rhythm, things like that. Less contact sports. So, Tai Chi. Also, your attitude towards movement and exercise, right? As you get older, you may think, I can't do that, I can't do that. But our mind is really powerful. If you think you're getting old, not moving, your body's going to respond. So why don't you think that you are healthy, you can move, you have flexibility. So use your mind to be the best. Don't accept low standards. Don't accept that if you're in your 40s, your body's just going to deteriorate. You're going to get a stomach, you're going to get a belly. But actually fight it. And really, so mindset's huge in a lot of aspects of health. Then, also this kind of goes into more body chemistry, but what other things that are you doing to reduce inflammation? Because that'll affect how you can exercise, right? When you're inflamed, you're not going to feel like exercising. The joints are going to hurt. And so really think of the things to reduce inflammation. The big 3 things that inflame the body is processed sugars, so that's sodas, sweets, also carbonation. Think about how much gluten you're having, because we get a lot of inflammation from that. And also dairy. Dairy inherently is not bad. It's really good. Yogurt, probiotics, etc. But it's what they've done to it, pasteurization and adding tons of sugar into it. So maybe try and make your own yogurt. So what are you doing for your inflammation? And then also huge is core. Work on your core, your exercise, your gut, your abdominal muscles. What happens is, and how I help people with the low back problems is we work on realigning the pelvis. Often the pelvis is out of balance. One hip is higher, which causes one leg to be higher and rotates the pelvis and causes low back problems. But what we do is we work on getting people to strengthen their core abdominal muscles, the muscles under the belly fat, right? And what happens is, I talked about this last week, is when our pelvis tilts forward, that's when we have a lot of back problems. And so I'll just show you here. So So what happens is when the pelvis tilts forward like that, if we have a big belly like that, my belt line tilts down, right? And then that really jams the lower back. And so what we've got to do our core muscles to tilt the pelvis back like that. And so that really, when we tighten these muscles, then that just stabilizes the back. And bingo, that's when all kinds of good things happen. Low back pain goes away. So really work on your core. So a couple of things to think about. What is your attitude towards health? I mean, health, but specifically movement, exercise. What are you doing? You have to schedule that into your life. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So show me your calendar, and I'll show you where your priorities are. And one of them is health. You have to look after your health. Nowadays, you have to be intentional about your health. Otherwise, it's not just going to happen. And that's about it. Next week, we're going to probably talk about either your emotions, mental health towards your general health. And then after that, we're going to talk about body chemistry, nutrition, what you're putting into your body. Okay, this is Dr. Monji with Balance Health of Payson. Oh, also one more thing. We have a seminar. We're starting up our seminars, our health lectures. We're going to have one a month. First one's going to be September the 3rd, and that's going to be on shockwave therapy. You may have heard about shockwave therapy. You may have seen some ads come across your Facebook, Instagram, and it's really popular. It's where we use sound waves to create a little micro trauma to the tendons and ligaments to stimulate healing, stimulate the stem cells to get into action, also the exosomes, increase blood flow, and it's a really good option to help things like plantar fasciitis, all joint tendon problems, so rotator cuff, elbow problems, carpal tunnel problems, knee problems, back, foot problems like plantar fasciitis. Really works well. So we're going to do a seminar explaining how shockwave therapy helps and what it can help with. Okay, this is Dr. Monji from Balance Health.